Christina Minyagi here with another book review, and today I want to talk to you about Life of Pi by Yann Martel. So, the story is about Pi, who is the lone survivor of a shipwreck, and he tells an amazing story of how he survived over 300 days on the high seas alone in a lifeboat with a Bengal tiger whom he calls Richard Parker. And it goes through all of their adventures, how they figured out how to fish and overcome Pi's lifelong vegetarianism in order to survive, and how he's read over and over again the manual that was included on the lifeboat of how to survive at sea, and how he ultimately tames Richard Parker and gives him the full credit of his surviving so many days at sea. And there's lots of interesting little tidbits, but the thing that I found most interesting about the book is that he did survive, and he survived alone on a ship or on a lifeboat in the Pacific. And while it's heartbreaking and devastating, his will to survive overcame any and all of his, qualms about, having to eat fish and figuring out how to collect water so he wasn't dehydrated, and how he was beaten up by the sun and the waves and the water, and how everything became salty and he lost his sense of smell. But through it all, he never gave up hope. He just persevered and kept going. Now, to me, the ending of this book left me wanting, because the whole time you're reading this book and you're like, oh my gosh, how do you survive in a lifeboat with a Bengal tiger on board? And at the end of the book, when he finally hits land and is rescued, he lands in Mexico, and the officials from the ship company that sank come to interview him. And he tells the story that you've been reading the entire time. And they tell him, we don't believe you. And so he says, well, let me tell you another story. And the other story he tells makes you wonder, which is the true version? Is the true version that he survived on a ship with the Bengal tiger? Or is the true version what he told the Japanese officials? So, I'm still wondering. Apparently this book has been made into a movie. My children have told me that it was a big hit, and we have not watched it, but I thought, well, I'll read the book and we'll see if we can find the movie. If you've read Life of Pi and you have any insight onto what you think is true or untrue about the story, I'd love to hear your comments below. If you haven't read Life of Pi, pick it up. It is a fascinating read. You'll speed through it.